Let's learn how to use Claude. Claude is a very powerful tool in addition to ChatGPT. Checking out the prices, everything that I'll be going through in this tutorial is going to be using the free plan. And then the difference is when you want to jump up to the pro plan, which is about $17 a month, then you get, of course, more usage. You could use Claude directly in your terminal. You could connect to your Google Workspace, like your email, calendar, docs, and the most important feature is that you can actually connect everyday tools in just a few clicks with remote MCP servers. This is very powerful. So go ahead and just create an account. Welcome to the inside of Claude. On the left-hand side, you have your toolbar, which you could pop in and out by clicking this button right here. Then you can start a new chat right here or right in the middle. Here, chats, this is going to show the history of all your chats here. You can search just for titles, or as you can see here, I just have one chat in this history. Next, let's go to Personalize Claude. On the bottom left where it says your name, go ahead and click on that and then click on Settings. Here under Profile, and just to give a little more real estate, I'm going to toggle our toolbar on the left hand side so it just gives us more real estate. And now I want to take a look at the profile page, and here you have the option to personalize Claude for you. Say you work in a specific role like product manager or sales or marketing, you could put that here, and then you could also give Claude much more context information around what preferences do you like. The main things is thinking of like, how do you want Claude to respond to you? Do you want him to be brief? Do you want him to be very verbose? Or do you want him to go very deep into like an answer, for example? While we're here in the settings, I highly recommend turning on any of the previews that they have here. This one's going to create AI powered artifacts. We'll talk about artifacts in later lessons, but it has the ability to build apps, fully functional apps inside of Claude, which is pretty wild. And the analysis is crazy powerful to produce data visualizations in real time, like to analyze charts and like CSV files. Let's just turn both of those on. And also while we're here, let's go to connectors, and you want to make sure under artifacts you have this checked. Artifacts are, think of it like Claude's basically going to create and run some code in a browser, basically. That's what an artifact is. It could be a website, it could be an app, could be a text document, could be a piece of code. Like, it's going to create this artifact by basically writing code. It's actually pretty wild. Now to exit the settings, just click on Claude in the upper left-hand corner, which takes you back to the main screen. First thing you always want to do is double check the model that you're using. So here, Claude Sonnet, which is the smart, most efficient model, and then they have other ones for different. Claude's always improving the models. Right now you currently have Claude Opus 4 and Claude Sonnet 4, which far surpass. The way to think about it is if you have like a technical challenge or a very complex task or even coding intensive task, give that to Claude Sonnet 4. And then if you want just general everyday purpose, then you can use 3.7. And you can select the models in the bottom right hand corner of the screen here. There's Opus 4. These are just, again, they're getting more powerful, but you do have to upgrade. And then more models down here. You can use 3.7, which is great for everyday as well too. So Claude really excels at 3 areas: coding, writing, and reasoning. The first thing that we're going to test Claude out is for data visualization. So I want to feed it some sales data and just have it do some visualization as far as the data. And for that example, I'm just going to go to ChatGPT, real simple, and say, give me a mock-up CSV file for sales of an office supply store with 50 records of sales and other data to test a data visualization large language model. That's my prompt. And then ChatGPT gave me a little file, gave me a table, and then downloaded it as a CSV file. And all I did was just import that into Google Sheets so that you can see we have pretty much some mock data with sales, date, product, category, quantity sold, unit price sold, salesperson, region. So let's take this data and let's give it to Claude and say, so I'm going to ask Claude, analyze the sales data and create charts to visualize the data, then give an executive summary and strategy to increase sales. I'm going to click on the plus symbol, click upload file, and then here's the CSV file. So there it is, and then we'll just upload this, and now Claude is working away. It's going to take that CSV file, it's going to write some custom JavaScript code, it's going to analyze the data. Very interesting. I want to definitely see what code it's doing. So it's writing all of this in JavaScript. Very interesting to ingest the file, analyze the file, and it's working through and starting to think, and we're just going to let it do its thing. Now it opened up an artifact, so you can see how it popped up this window right now, and it's writing some code. So it's going to create right now an analytic dashboard, and right now it's writing the code to actually create this dashboard. And you're going to see this trend going forward where you're going to see a lot of these large language tools such as Claude, GenSpark, ChatGPT, use additional tools like writing code to create something of value, whether it be a dashboard, a web app. Okay, so it looks like it finished the dashboard. Now it's working on a document, which is basically an executive summary. So you can see there's different tools that it's working on. It's going to do a tool to make an interactive dashboard, which is one artifact, and then it's going to create another document right here. And as you click on these, it's going to render them on the right hand side to show you there's our dashboard, and then here's a text for the document that is still writing. We could look at our interactive dashboard, so we could click overview, we could toggle for performance. Oh, some things are broken if I click on the next tab, just because I didn't explicitly say what should it do. So I'll click on the X just to go back, just reload it with the little reload button right here. So we can see total revenue, total transactions, units sold, order value. Now to create these charts would have took hours, especially fiddling around with Excel. But now with Claude, we can just upload any file, and if we had a very specific template and very specific charts, we can have it analyze the data quickly and fastly and make this interactive as a one, and make this a app so that you can do this over and over and get these charts with this summary as well too. Let's dive over to the executive summary. And so it broke down our key performance, units sold, and analyzed, and all this came from just this Excel file right here. So we're seeing that Claude can analyze data, crunch numbers, give you executive strategy. So apparently we need to expand writing supply production lines, which is currently generating 29% of our revenue. And it did this in seconds. Like, we did not have to wait too long for Claude to ingest this whole file and give us insights. But the main thing we're showing here is that this task would have took hours to complete and is prone to human error. But once you prompt it using Claude, you can get so much accurate data out effortlessly. So this is just to show you that Claude can actually ingest some data, crunch numbers, and then visualize the data in an interactive chart, and then repeat this if you have to do this in the future. Let's go on the left hand side and go back to new chat. The next thing that Claude is really good for is actually building full applications. So here we're going to have it build a game. So create a web app interactive game, a memory game with row and columns 6x6, and has cards of animals, and every time there is a match, it increases the score. So of course it's going to use the artifact feature for this. So you can already see that it's starting to create the artifact. Artifact is just, again, a space for it to write some code, so it could run, whether it be some HTML, CSS, JavaScript, which it does look like it's doing some just raw code, just as if it's building a website. So it's done in real time with version 1, and we can see here, let's test it out, and it does reset. Nice. There's a match right there, and it does keep score. Congratulations. Nice. And then if we continue, we could probably do a new game, and it resets. So not bad for his first try. It's going to take me a while to find another match, but that was actually real lucky on the first one. But this is a full interactive game. It's written with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. On the top left-hand corner, you can see the full artifact or application ran or rendered. It's also similar to like CodePen, how CodePen just takes raw HTML code and then just renders it. So that's basically what it's doing. Here you could toggle and you can see all the code, and you can now copy paste this code in your app or in your website very easily. And then you can click copy, or you can even publish it to the web. So click on this and this will publish the artifact to make it accessible so everyone can play with it. Publish and copy link. And now you have a link right here that people could go, and if I open incognito mode, they can now play the game. I'm now in incognito mode, and the full app is actually working. I do see a Claude in the URL, but this is now just running, and you can see low made with Claude. So it actually gives you a full custom website so for your app to actually play. Really cool. So you can actually build tools and then distribute them to your team or to your friends and family or to your business and your colleagues or even to your clients or your customers. And you could build custom applications, much more advanced web apps than, for example, like custom GPTs, which just output text. Here you can build actual tools, and you can sell these just like custom GPTs to your clients or customers as well too. So that's where here we're building interactive games, and again, we just published it. And if there is any changes that I would want made, then I can say, hey Claude, just go down to left hand side and just say make these changes, shift enter, and then you can do number 1, change the color palette to blue, to make it 4x4 for rows and columns. And lastly, throw confetti animations when the match is found. So I'm just going to click enter. So actually what Claude is going to do, Claude's actually smart. It's not going to actually rewrite all the code over again. It's going to take the original artifact. This is something really cool. And it's actually going and making these changes that I said, hey, make these changes 1, 2, 3, and it's going and actually fixing and rewriting the code. I know some other tools, what they're doing is they would just re-render a whole new code, for example. So Claude is actually going in a loop of making these edits and changes to the code, and we're watching this in real time. Done. So now it did make the change 4x4. It actually changed the color blue. If there's a match for confetti, let's see how my memory is. Here we go. We got a match. And we got confetti. Not so much confetti, we got a stars, but that's close enough. It does increase the score, and then clicks new game, resets everything. So fun little game, and that's how you make changes. So you can build apps or artifacts in Claude. Let's go back to new chat, top left-hand side. The next example for Claude is the writing example. Claude has the most humanistic of all the writing, especially as the output from, like, say for example, from like a ChatGPT or like Claude is known for really sounding more humanistic for its writing. So I'm going to enter this prompt right here, and don't worry, I got this prompt. All I did was go to ChatGPT, and I just kind of want to show you, I just brain dumped, and I just said, you're an expert copywriter, write me a very comprehensive prompt to give to Claude to test out his copywriting skills for an email campaign for AI training for entrepreneurs that will save them 20 plus hours a week. I'm like, hey, you write me a much more better prompt than I could do, for example. So just kind of showing you how I'm just using other AI tools. So of course you could also do this in Claude too, but I just like to start with a real nice prompt. And then here, of course, everything says role task output, saying role, you're a professional direct response copywriter with deep expertise in writing high converting email campaigns. So your task is to write a 5-part email sequence, because we test out the writing by not doing an email sequence for a promotion. The goal of the training is to teach them how to use AI to automate repetitive tasks, create content faster, and save at least 20 plus hours a week. The tone should be clear, conversation and persuasive, not hypey over the top, and the email should feel helpful and motivating, not pushy. If you want to change the style of the writing, you could go down to you could click on the button right here and go to styles, and here you can actually change a different style for output. Do you want normal, concise, formal, or you can actually create your own writing style here. So I'm just going to use this with Claude font, with Claude Sonnet 4.0, and it's going to create an artifact, which is just a document, which you can see right here. And it's going to go write this huge email. They're a little bit too long, but it works for now. And now it's done. It just did a 5-part AI training email sequence for entrepreneurs, email 1. Now it's a little too long, so I would go back and actually just tell it to just make shorter. And now that's done, we can see that it made the emails much shorter again. Now, the biggest thing is the time that it would take to do copywriting, to write out what's the email sequence that it should have with which goals and all the business. Using AI is going to save you like 20 plus hours a week. It's insane. Now, it went through a couple versions of it, so you could always go back to the previous versions by clicking up here. You could go back to version 1, which is the original, or version 6, which is the latest one. You could go ahead and copy it or save it as a markdown. Markdown is just raw text, PDFs, especially for like if you're going to give it to another large language model, you want to download it as raw, as markdown, which is just raw text. PDFs, most large language models don't like PDFs. It's a little hard to recognize the text in them. So when in doubt, markdown for sure. But if you're saving it just to view this later on and archive this, save it as a PDF. By the way, whenever any large language model, even Claude, just gives you something useful, be sure to take that and save it in Notion. Like I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to Notion, which is my digital notebook. Highly recommend you should be using digital notebook. And I'm just going to paste it here. You can use Google Docs, really doesn't matter. Highly recommend Notion though, because now that it's saved in my second brain, so that I can find it amongst all the other documents that I have, for example, and I can quickly find that email sequence rather than trying to use the search feature. So for example, I'm going to close the X out of this, closes the artifact, but don't worry, you could always go back to the little, you can see these like big buttons right here. Those are artifacts. And again, you could close it out. On the left-hand side, so over here on the left-hand side under chat history, you can actually search for text inside of the conversation. So I'm going to take this one word maintaining, for example, from this conversation that I was talking with, go to chat history and say, hey, find me all the conversations where I mentioned the word maintaining. And you can see, oh, that was in your chat history in this conversation. And you can see, okay, you may have to just do a Command F to actually find it. That's going to be a little easier. So it's mentioned a couple times in this chat conversation. So that's how you could do chat. So that's how you can use the search feature. By the way, if we go back to our previous chat conversation here, and then there's an arrow in the upper right hand corner. If you click on that, you can see all the artifacts that are mentioned in this whole chat conversation. So if this was a whole long thing and you have multiple artifacts, different versions, like this will show you all the artifacts and any content that was added, so that you can see everything that's related in this whole conversation. Highly recommend bookmark the conversation so that you could continue going deeper into a subject. On the left hand side, let's go check out artifacts, because basically artifacts are like pre-made web apps, basically, because they do some function. So for example, we could click on any one of these for inspiration. Oh, here's a fun one. You can see your life in weeks. So click on this, enter your date of birth, visualize your time. It's not my actual birthday, but, and then here you can see it actually visualized life in weeks, a simple visualization to reflect on the passage of time. So you could build these interactive applications, again, for yourself, for your team, or for your clients or customers. Way more advanced than custom GPTs as well too, because you could ingest files. And we click on another one, for example, and look at them. They're drum machines, they're interactive games, a product requirement document maker. This one's actually really dope. So this, especially when you get into web apps or you're building applications, a PRD is like a scope. It's like a to-do list for like software developers. It's like, okay, what product are you building? A productivity journal for entrepreneurs. Who are the target users? Entrepreneurs that are overwhelmed. What key features? Log tasks, prioritize tasks, and manage calendar. Great, generate a PRD. So someone actually made this and made it public, and right now it's going through its little thinking behind the scenes, and it's actually going to generate. And if you scroll down, you can see a description down below. I want to build a one-page PRD creator product requirement document. This should help anyone on a team write PRDs based on a set of inputs. The user should be asked 3 questions and it goes through. Oh, look, and it's done. Nice. And then I can take this, for example, by clicking this. So I think it copied, but if not, just in case, I'm just going to copy this. And then I'm going to go to Claude, just open a new conversation and create this app, paste. So all I did was say, create this app, and then just pasted this whole app. And let's just see, because Claude is really good at creating applications. So, and this web app that we found, so they're very similar to like custom GPTs and ChatGPT. The only difference is they're fully functional HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So, which is most web apps online. So that's basically what it's doing. It's writing the code, then rendering it like a browser. GenSpark does this really well too. And then you have these apps that we found on an app store that people are using, and then you could click, you could customize it, you can add it. So if you click customize, this will probably add a new chat, customize this artifact. So clicking it, it starts a new conversation. And here is where you can make any changes. Of course, you don't see the raw code down below, but this will actually go and generate your PRD. Really helpful. Let's see how Claude is doing. Claude is just writing some code right now. So Claude really strives at code writing. Oh, look, and it's done. So just built a web app based on that PRD or product requirement document. Very cool. So you could toggle, see the code. This is an artifact. Here we can say, okay, build website, and then click add. Oh, look, there it is, build website. It actually does save it. And then update website copy potential. So if I complete this task, that's done. Eating review, wins, grew, member. There's not really anywhere to log, but that's okay. Can we just press enter? Or is this the whole thing? And then you have top 3 priorities. Say this one's done. Oh, you could drag a priority from here. So can we take this and drag? No, that would be too cool. No, you can't really drag a task, but still pretty cool. Voice feature, test 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Wait, how did it just add voice feature? Schedule marketing. It just added voice feature. That's so wild. Anyways, progress, week, calendar view. There's more to be built out, but it basically just built this out. And this is a product requirement document, basically. It's basically a scope list that you could give to Claude or Lovable, and it will actually build these web apps for you. So that's the real game changes. You have the ability to create web apps, fully functional web apps that you can use, you can sell, you could build to state so you could be even more productive. And we're just scratching the surface of what Claude has to offer. I just upgraded to Claude's first payment plan, which is the $20 per month plan, just so that I could show you guys projects on the left hand side. So over here, you can see there's projects. This is only on the paid version. So from here, let's create a project that we're working on. So here we're going to say, okay, projects help organize your work and leverage knowledge across multiple conversations. You can upload additional documents, code, and files to create a themed collection that Claude can reference again. So now Claude, when you get asked a question, it has a bigger knowledge base. It will have a group of conversations, files, and any additional details so that it could give you a much better answer. For example, we're going to create our own. So it's asking us, what are you working on? We're going to build a digital course. What are you trying to achieve? Create a digital product to sell online. So we're going to create our own project. So once you're in your project, you want to make sure all your conversations start off in that project in order for them to be saved. You can't take outside conversations and drop them in. So here I'm going to start a prompt to say I'm working on a digital product for AI training for entrepreneurs to teach them how to use Claude in their business so they could get more leads and get more sales and actually automate their work. So I want to put together a mini course with just a curriculum for the digital product. Close this in. And so now it's going to save this conversation and do its thing. Great. While it's working away, you could always go back to here. And there's our first conversation. And now Claude is working on that one. And we could work on 2 projects at the same time. So I could give it another prompt. This one is going to create a lead magnet free webinar for teaching the course on how to use Claude for entrepreneurs and business owners. So one's working on the curriculum for the actual course, and the other one's going to create the web page for the website. So we're going to click search, or going to click go, and then now it's off, and now it's creating a landing page for our offer. So we're just going to let it cook there. And we could go back and click in to the different conversations to see how to do for the curriculum for the course. So that's all done. And we can see also for module tool, and then we can see it keeps going. This is a very comprehensive course. I would do a lot to actually change this, but it helps us go from a blank page to something to work with. Click on the down arrow and click rename and just call this course. That way I know this is all about the course. And then if I go back to the main folder, this has the course and this has the website. So while this is done, I'm just going to rename this. Click down arrow, rename. This is the website. Perfect. So now we have 2 conversations, and now we can see it created a brand new website. Now, of course, the color scheme is like horrible. I would have it do my own color scheme, but this is helping you do a mock-up for a website really quick and easy. So now we have the website, and if I go back using the breadcrumbs, now I have the website, the course. And the last thing here is I could continue this and have different conversations to continue to develop the website, to continue to develop on the course or the curriculum. On the right-hand side, you have the ability to add project knowledge or files, PDF files, documents, or other text so that it helps with the project that you're working on, for example. So here, let's say I have the ebook, The Laptop Millionaire. So this is a great ebook. Let's say it's relevant to the project I'm working on, say for example. So I'm just going to go to Claude. I'm going to click on the plus symbol. I'm going to upload from my device. I'm going to click on Laptop Millionaire. And now that that file is uploaded, you can see that I'm using 6% of the project capacity for uploading knowledge and for limitations of just file storage. So you need to upload more files. If I want to give Claude a custom instruction, right here, this is where I'll add custom context. Say, for example, the goal is to build a 10K per month online business in 30 days. Give clear, actionable, blunt advice to the user to accomplish this goal, for example. Save the instruction. So now we have a custom instruction, and now all of this information is in a project file so that I could start a conversation and it could reference all of this information when it's ready to in your next prompt, such as, so now I can ask it, use all the information in this project folder and give me a 30-day action plan with KPI metrics. Now it's going to use all that information in that project folder to actually execute on this bigger task, such as giving me a 30-day blueprint, for example. So pulling, and you can also see that it's brutally honest, which comes from our prompt here. So you can see how it's actually pulling in. It pulled in the file, the Laptop Millionaire file. So there's the reference of the file. You can see here it's very blunt. So that's in reference to the custom prompt that we used. And so now it's using all that information in this conversation. Great. And then here, so now you can see how this conversation, as it's going, it's referencing stuff from the course, the website, the file, and your custom prompt to personalize the output from Claude to make it even better, for example. So that's projects, and projects are very, very powerful. But you can see here how I organized everything so that if I want to go and focus on just the website to make updates, I could just go here and say, okay, let's redo the website. Or I'm like, you know what, we need to focus on the curriculum. We need to make a shorter version. Hey, let's go to this conversation and focus on that. Lastly, let's go over artifacts, because we've actually generated a few artifacts throughout this lesson. Is in artifacts on the left hand side, if you click my artifacts, you can see all the artifacts that I've created in this account right here. Makes it very nice. So you could click on any one of these. It could be documents, could be web apps, takes you to that conversation where here we can see that website that it created. And then you could also, again, publish it. So by publishing it, it makes it searchable. And then also it will give you a link so that this link could be found on the website. So I'm just going to click publish link, copy, open incognito mode, and paste that link. And now that website is active and ready to go. Very, very powerful. This could be a report. It could be interactive dashboard. It could be for a presentation, could be for your team, could also be could be a lead magnet, or even something that you give away to your clients. But these artifacts are very powerful that you could create them effortlessly using Claude. Last feature I want to show you is the research button right here. If you want to do some comprehensive research online, here I'm going to say, what are the best AI tools for entrepreneurs? I'm going to toggle this research button and then click go. And Claude is going to go and spend a little more time using its search the web tool here. And it's actually going to go and search a bunch of websites. It's going to ingest a bunch of data, and then it's going to synthesize it and then give me a summary, for example. Now you can see here that research does take time, so it can actually enable notifications. And now if I click allow, I'll get a notification in the browser that Claude is done. And if you want to see what Claude is doing, you can actually click on this artifact right here, click on this, expands out, and Claude is thinking. It's creating a research plan right now. So 10 minutes later, you can see here, it took 10 minutes to run this research. Claude went through 305 sources of information on the web, synthesized all of that, and then went and then created this report that goes deep into the subject. And then along the way, you can see these little sources right here that it's citing so that you know it's not hallucinating and making up information. And that's the research feature for Claude. So I highly recommend get started with Claude today. The most powerful feature really is building artifacts. That's where your prompt engineering is really going to come into play. It's equivalent to custom GPTs, to chat GPT, how custom GPTs are so powerful once you unlock that skill. It's a whole nother level than just using chat GPT. The same is here with artifacts. You can build custom web applications. They function just like loading a website, so it could do any type of web app that you see on your browser. And then you can make it up also for websites, for mockups, also for applications, and then also for presentations and lead magnets and so forth. So it's really the artifacts and the projects that you're going to get the most out of. And we haven't even touched Claude's main bread and butter, which is actually coding. But that's going to be in another tutorial so that we could go deep into how to leverage Claude for coding, for building apps. If you want to take your AI skills to the next level, especially AI for business, highly recommend joining our mastermind community, link down below. We have courses on 24 of the best AI tools, weekly live classes, mentorship, networking, and you could earn AI certificates to level up your skills. We cover the best tools so that you're always up to date to know how to leverage AI both in your business and your career. Link down below to get started.